All right, well, folks, I was going to share with you some of the ways I heel calves at a Brandon. Some folks got a hold of me and wanted to see me do it. And I honestly didn't think it was that much to it, but evidently there is, because I got to thinking about it, and there's certain things you need to know and or watch out for, and certain shots you want to throw. In a Brandon, the style that we saw at the Red Bug Corrals, that's one of the many styles of Brandon. And as you notice, it's a bunch of calves wadded up in corners. And that particular set of corrals is the calves, as you were leaving the fire, had their mothers on the other side of the fence. And also the calves that weren't branded yet were on the left in an alley. So that means a higher percentage of calves are going to keep going back to the left, because there's more cows standing there. So you need to figure that out, and then you got to watch where your best shots are going to be. And in that particular day, my best shots were the cattle in the right-hand corner, because they weren't as wadded up as tight as the ones in the left hand, and it was conducive for me to throw my right-handed shot and then just turn around and head for the fire. So the size of the loop changes as you rope. For me, this type of Brandon, it's not big loop roping. It doesn't work. What works for me is a trap about this size and smaller. So my typical one is, as you ride ahead, you're watching the calves, and you see which ones' hindquarters are placed out far enough to be able to put a trap on. Now, Bill Dorrance talked about the way he learned that style of roping that he shared with Joe and the rest of them, and then went on down the trail to everybody else, is that he finally learned to throw coming in this way. And that raised his percentages on a whole bunch of these shots. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, the other side of the coin is you need room for that rope to come around. Now, I'll just go there for a minute, but a traditional team roping shot is down. And in a Brandon corral, percentage-wise, I have better luck coming in from the side than I do coming from straight down. And I can swing slow, and I don't chouse the cattle up as much. But what we're going to do is show you the reality of what the shots look like. So for me, the traditional trap is to come in, reach around, and set my trap. And then I back my horse up, step the front end across, and go to the horn. Now, of course, I raise my hand when the feet go in, but that's the traditional no-brainer. Now I'm going to show you some of the shots that you want to have in your toolbox, because it's going to happen. You got to use sometimes a loop this small for a little bitty calf, and it's caught in the bunch, and you can do this with a big loop or a small loop. But I just take it and hang it over their back. Then I ride up in front of them and literally get in their eye and push them out to my right. Now, another choice I have in this situation is they walk backwards. We're going to go ahead and set that up where the critter steps in the loop, and you can see how it works. Okay, so now the calf has walked backwards and stepped into it. What you want it to do is it's going to leave that way, off to your right. So you raise your arm, and as this leaves, you go to the back, and there's your 2 feet, and all you got to do is head for the fire. So that's that shot, and it works really good. Another scenario is for roping like we did the other day, is you come in and you set your trap. Now your calf goes forward and steps into the loop. And that drives all your cattle to your right, your calves out of the corner. The Brandon fire is behind me. So now I've got 2 feet caught, That's good. Oh, I've got 2 feet caught, and I just follow the calf, and I leave my hand up high. I follow it all the way around. And then it starts to head, keep going. It starts to leave the country. Now I just drop my dolly and go. So you're literally going at 360 degrees for that shot. Now this, you got to work with me on this one, but a lot of times you catch one hind leg, say it's the right hind. Okay, well, we don't go to the fire with one foot. We go to the fire with 2 feet. So what you want to do, this, if you'll notice, I've been splitting the loop this whole time. So I can't split the loop as I throw because the rope will lay on the ground. But what I'm going to show you is what it looks like. You've got one hind foot caught. So all you do is just keep riding, pick your trap up, and take it with you. Now you've got a trap for the other hind leg right there. Now you just walk your calf backwards, and they'll step into it, and that gives you 2 feet. They step over the rope, and you've got your arm up all the time. Always keep your hand high, then you can manipulate these calves. And this is pretty slow, so they're not that bothered. Keep your arm up, keep your arm up, keep your arm up. Let it slide, go to the horn, and head to the fire. So I think the message here, those are just a couple of the shots that seem to work. I'm going to do one more. That'll be a backhand. And on the backhand, it's the same thing. If you catch the left hind leg, just back your horse up. Now, I hate to be Captain Obvious here, but if you can't disengage your horse's hindquarter and move the front end separate from the back end, none of this will ever work. Because if you have to be jacking your horse around to try to get into position, your calves are going to get bothered. And you've seen it before. You've seen somebody try to be in there like they're killing a snake. And the object is to come in as smooth as you can. Now, another question asked, how come I don't use a riata? I do use a riata, but I use it when I can use it to win. In other words, on a day where the corral isn't muddy, like we've had recently, in most branding seasons it is mud. I don't like getting my riata muddy. And with this nylon rope, at the style of branding that we do, I can hold the trap up higher with the nylon than I can with the riata, because the riata typically, it's for moving cattle and for laying it over the back. The shots are. So now I just want to show you a backhand. And the shot will come up during a branding. You just have the opportunity to lay it in. And depending on what your calf wants to do, you can back your horse up. And you see my trap, they're going to go right into my trap. That's what I like to do. I like to back my horse up and drive the calf away or let it go with the rest of the calves. Now the 2 hind feet are going to go in. All I have to do is turn left and go to the fire. And something that I'd like everybody to know that's getting lost is that as soon as you miss, which I do a lot, get out of the way. Don't ponder on it. Don't talk about getting robbed. Don't cuss, whatever you want to do. Don't do it. Just get out of the way. Now, as you're getting out of the way, you're coiling. As you're getting out of the way, you're watching your other ropers and you're saying, is there any way I can help this guy get a shot? Because those of us that know how to do this spend a lot of time setting up shots for our partners. So that's another story, but just think about watching the pattern of the way the calves are always going, that you know the guys you're roping with and you know what their favorite shot is. So if you see that starting to happen, just put your horse over in a position and peel them off the fence for them so they can get a shot. That's kind of getting lost, and I hate to see that lost because it sets everybody up to not do real well. And the object is to get them branded and back with their mothers. The object of a branded isn't to see who can rope the best. It's a matter of how smooth you can be. So Dave Stoddard in Oregon, I mean, he says it all. Very simple. A good crew is a quiet crew. That means quiet people, quiet horses, quiet ropes. Thank you.